this is probably the rebuild season, and we were very lucky last season in the sense that Slot managed to ring and squeeze every last bit of energy and enthusiasm and passion out of that team, which was technically Klopp's team, but they didn't play that way for Klopp. They played that way for Slot, and they won the league. We're being a little bit spoilt, I think, in the sense that we've won the league, and we need to remember that we've just won the Premier League. This season is probably the transitional period, so I would be happy with fourth at the moment, and it's not what you really should be aiming for after you win a title. But after the injuries, after the start we've had, the way it's been going, the tragedy with Jota and everything else, I would be happy with fourth now. But before Newcastle, there was signs that possibly wasn't going to happen. So I'm glad that it's sort of steadied the ship, and let's hope that this momentum now stays.
Can you throw the Champions League as well for us?
I'd love the Champions League, obviously, and I would obviously take any cup. We haven't won the FA Cup for a while, have we? A few years now, since I think it was Costa scored the penalty in the final. So I think it's one to try and go for, and try and really aim for the cups as well, and make a point of it. But if we do get to the cup final of the Champions League, I am not going.
Yeah, James, he's got a bad record, Paul. The ones he goes to, we lose, and the ones he doesn't go to, we win, right?
I promise you I won't go.
Yeah.
No Budapest.
Yeah, I would have a good maybe take inside Liverpool to Budapest, right?
There you go.
There we go. We got that sorted for next summer. Who wants to wax lyrical first about Hugo Ekitike? Go on, James. I'll go to you first. I enjoyed your tweet on Saturday night. Hugo Ekitike's transformed the mood at Anfield with his match-winning heroics. What a signing he's been. The leading light of Arne Slot's front line. No Liverpool centre forward since Fernando Torres has made such an impact in his debut season at Anfield.
Yeah, I just think he's been an absolute revelation. And when you think back to last summer, there was this expectation when Liverpool signed Isak that it was like, well, Ekitike is going to be the sidekick, really. And he's well and truly blown that one out of the water. And he's embraced the responsibility as well, because of course, since Isak broke his leg in early December, there's been so much pressure on him to deliver. Yet he relishes it, and I just think he's got everything you want in a centre forward: pace, power. He's combative. His work ethic is absolutely spot on, and
looks a real character as well. James, is that fair to say?
Yeah, they love it. He's so popular in the dressing room. He's funny. I think it's helped him off the pitch, the fact that he's had this bond with Konate, obviously from their time together with France, and him and Verts as well have become good pals since they linked up in the summer, and you can see that understanding growing on and off the pitch. And that second goal was, it was pure Torres, wasn't it? Torres against Chelsea on his home debut back in 2007. It was almost the same patch of grass in terms of bursting past the defender on the outside and the unbelievable finish into the far corner. And I think it was 15 goals he's got his name now. There's no reason why he couldn't go on and get 25 this season. And Liverpool haven't. It feels like it's been a long time since Liverpool had a centre forward, quite like him. Probably obviously Suarez, blossomed after a relatively slow start and had that unbelievable year in 13-14. But then of course, for so much of the Klopp era, Firmino was such a key part, a cog in the machine, but he wasn't a massively prolific goal scorer. He was a false nine rather than a proper number 9. And then they try and go in a different direction with Darwin Núñez. He was too erratic and didn't deliver on a consistent basis. But Ekitike is the absolute real deal.
I was just going to say that what James said, and it sounds silly because Salah's put them numbers up every year, but he's a winger, and for Liverpool to have a striker, a number 9, a striker of that calibre. We haven't had someone who's putting 20-25 goals per season in that position,
number 9
for a while. So it's great news for me. But obviously Isak's sitting there as well.
Yeah,
it's a frightening thought, and I hope that they can, pardon the pun, slot in or fit into the same team. But if they do, with Verts behind them or Verts somewhere else in that team as well, it's a frightening thought. I know we've tried at the start of the season, but they were all still sort of bedding in and gelling in, really.
Just don't want to go back too much to the summer, but was the plan always to bring in 2 strikers, do you think? Or do you think just the way things fell with Isak and Ekitike, they both kind of became options of Liverpool and they thought, we can't not take that up? Or do you always think Liverpool wanted 2 centre forwards?
I think it became pretty clear early in pre-season that they'd be pursuing 2 centre forwards. Even from even from when the Ekitike kind of interest really kind of blossomed, it was always, the message was always, this doesn't change anything regarding wanting Isak. This isn't like an alternative to Isak. You know, we want to pair them together because, of course, you know, you'd lost Jota in tragic circumstances. Darwin Núñez had gone to Saudi Arabia. You know, Luis Diaz was on the brink of going to Bayern Munich. So, you know, that front line needed a proper overhaul. But yeah, it's remarkable, really, what Ekitike is, especially when you think how, you know, it's been a malfunctioning team from the start of the season to have put up those kind of numbers already, and the COP absolutely adore him. So that's the other thing that, like, and you can, we few of us reporters spoke to him after the game against Karabag in the Champions League in the week, and you can just see what it means to him to play for Liverpool. And you know, we could all become a bit cynical, can't we, in modern football, but to see him enjoying himself and just the way he celebrates his goals as well. And I loved him giving a bit back to the Newcastle, reminding him what the score was as he passed them. I think, fans love not just the quality, but when you've got a personality like that.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
I think them Newcastle fans will have been sick on the weekend watching him, thinking, "Look what we could have won."
Well, and also with Isak on the sitting behind the bench, thinking we could have had, certainly one of them. Yeah,
that would have been a proper kick in the teeth.
Yeah, did you feel that when you go to the game? Obviously, we want our centre forwards to put goals in the back of the net, and you could tell pretty much from the Community Shield game against Palace, the way he took the goal in that game. The Bournemouth first game of the season, that he's clinical in front of goal, he's composed, but he does feel like that sort of character. He's aggressive. He plays with a smile on his face, and that will endear him to the people that pay their money to go with Liverpool every week.
Absolutely, and I'm not trying to sound smart, but I said at the very start of the season and early on, like, he reminds me of Torres.
Yeah. And that was before he got his head blonde.
Before he had the head, it's just the long sleeves, the way he runs. He's got a similar sort of stature and build. Torres was a big lad. He's a lump. Ekitike.
I remember he mentioned that Chelsea game.
Big lad.
That Chelsea game that Torres scored that great goal. That was his home debut, wasn't it? I remember that game. Torres going toe-to-toe with John Terry and giving it back to John Terry on its home debut. I remember thinking, all right, he can play, but he's also got something about him.
Yeah, and he obviously used to terrorise Vidic, didn't he? At United. And
used to get sent off every game,
unbelievable player, one of the best defenders the league had seen, according to United fans and a lot of other pundits and people who know the football and all the stuff. And Torres used to absolutely have him running rings around him every game.
Wasn't it?
He'd be terrible. But that's what, again, I think... There's no harm in that, and the way the game's gone this season, set pieces, long throws, a lot more physicality. We need someone like that anyway, or players like that, big lad. I was buzzing with Gravenberg last season. He was everywhere, and for me, he was integral. Again, in my limited opinion on football, I was buzzing watching him every week. He was running the show every week, but he was very, very physical. We've got Konate at the back, Van Dijk at the back. When everyone's fit and physical and on it, we've got a chance. But Ekitike certainly, in my opinion, fits that mould. He's a lump.
And one of the comparisons with obviously Torres had Gerrard, didn't he, playing behind him? They had that great understanding. And now obviously seeing Ekitike and Verts, who linked up again, didn't they, on the weekend? And I think, James, you touched on it when you joined us last week. But I mean, Florian Verts is just flourishing now, isn't he? Where it feels like the ceiling with him is so high, and it's so great that he's got that link up with Ekitike.
Yeah, I think Verts is making a few people look silly, aren't they? Who kind of wrote him off earlier on in the season and questioned the wisdom of that investment. And I thought some of the critiques of him earlier in the campaign were massively unfair. Completely, not factoring in the fact he was a 22-year-old lad living away from Germany for the first time, joining a team that wasn't performing particularly well. Because I think anyone who's watched Liverpool regularly, even in those opening months of the season, the quality was undeniable. There were so many games when things just didn't quite come off for him, where he put goals on a plate for teammates and they squandered the chances, and people then forget the quality of the pass that led to it. But now things are really starting to click for him. I think Liverpool have had him on a pretty intensive strength and conditioning program to try and get him up to speed with the physicality and intensity of the Premier League, because I think he's been very honest that he found that a real culture shock initially. And what is it now? 6 goals, 3 assists in his last 11 games.
I like that though, James. Do you? The fact that he was openly admitting that, look, it's a tough league and it's a lot more sort of physical and competitive.
Yeah. And I think especially this season, isn't it? Because of all the seasons to have joined the Premier League, he's kind of come at a time when a lot, teams have become a lot more, attritional, and there's a lot more about set pieces, and games are a lot more stop-start. And you look at kind of, he's a creative force, isn't he? That he's such a different type of player to the way the Premier League has gone this season.
I love watching him, James. I think he's exceptional. And my argument was, my limited knowledge on football. I'm not an expert on football by any stretch of the imagination. But
you are to me.
All them player analysts, all them transfer analysts, all them people that have studied this player inside out before they risk the club's hard-earned money on. They won't be wrong. I think that nowadays, especially with the data, the technology and the knowledge that we have. On anything in life now, them statisticians, they will not waste a penny on something like that. I think it's a foolproof gamble.
Especially Michael Edwards, ever since he's been at the club. I mean, there haven't been too many big misses, has there, in terms of big money players coming in and not succeeding, right, James?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the groundwork that goes into it. And I mean, I remember when I first had conversations with people. I think it was the back end of last season about Verts when the rumours started, and it was it was kind of a bit of a cautious optimism initially, because it was like every club in Europe wants this guy. Man City were banging for him, Bayern Munich were banging for him, and of course Bayern. There's almost like this sense in Germany that that's almost a rite of passage that Bayern just take the best players off their domestic rivals, and they were properly fuming by the fact that they missed out on him. That probably speaks volumes in itself. Did you think how many times would Bayern have studied him in his journey up through the Bundesliga, and just what he did for that first goal for Ekitike on Saturday night? When the ball drops at his feet on the edge of the box, what is there? Probably 5 or 6 black and white shirts in front of him. Yeah, the quick feet and the close control. And then the vision to pick Ekitike out of the near post. That's what Liverpool have bought, that ability to make something out of nothing.
What I love about him as well is I'm not sort of being proven wrong by the belief that we'll just have faith in them. They won't. He will succeed. That type of money and that type of investment from a club like ours, with a team behind the club like ours, they wouldn't do that. And I've never seen anything of him since he's been at the club that will throw me off that or make me doubt that. I've got full confidence in it. I love watching him. I think he's unbelievable. Every pass is weighted perfectly. He's just I think he's on it. And I saw you, James, didn't I, at the Emirates at the Arsenal game. When I was walking out just after I'd left James, I met someone a little bit less famous and asked them for the picture, and it was Florian Verts. And
why didn't you ask James for a picture?
I've got a few with James. Honestly, I just seen him out. He was standing outside talking with a few people. I said, "Excuse me," I said, "Do you mind if we get a picture, please?" Me and my brother Liam, and we got a picture of him, but he looked terrified when I asked him for it. I had my arm.
He knows who you are. That's why.
I had my arm around him. I said, "Mate, I'm a Liverpool fan, So I think you're unbelievable. Like good luck, thank you, lovely to meet you." Shook his hand, but he looked.
He speaks English.
He looked terrified. I think he thought it was an Arsenal fan because we were in the near where the Arsenal lot were. But he spoke English. He spoke fine. But he was a lot taller than I expected as well. Like, I'm 5'11". He was a bit taller than me because he looked small on the pitch. But that just goes to show you the size of some of these players. Like Van Dijk, 6'4", I think, isn't he? Like the unbelievable some of the athletes, some of these players.
Yeah, good stuff. So Verts going well, Ekitike going well. Just one more on the game before we speak about City. Got to mention Hugo Ekitike, don't we? Because we know off the pitch he suffered a tragic loss and he missed the last couple of games. But there's some injuries in defence. He came back. I thought he played really, really well. I thought it was the Konate of old. He was big, he was strong, he was physical, won absolutely everything in the air. And then he got his goal, didn't he, towards the end? He looked very emotional, mobbed by his teammates. So obviously gutted for Konate in the loss that he suffered with his dad passing away. But Paul, he came back, he put in the performance, and he got that goal, he got that moment. And fair play to Konate there as well, because we needed him, and he was outstanding, wasn't he?
Absolutely. And again, I've been one of the people to sort of criticise him this season for his form and the bad games that he's had, purely and simply because there's talk of Real Madrid or other people sort of turning his head. But after what's happened, after what's gone on in his personal life, like we forget that these players are human, and there's a lot at stake for them, and they're only young lads as well, especially compared to me anyway. But I was buzzing for him, and I hope that is a springboard for him now. Fingers crossed.
Consistency now, that he can,
because he is a player, and obviously he's a very, very good player. He just hasn't been at the race as much this year, but if this is the springboard, then great.